Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, May. How the hell did I get December? May 6th, 2024. What's going on? How are ya? Ah, geez. I'm recording this on May 5th, also known as Cinco de Mayo, out here in California. I think at this point it has gone national. I never heard of Cinco de Mayo until I came out here, when I first moved out here in the 90s. And I clearly remember asking somebody, when is Cinco de Mayo? So for other people as white as me, it literally means the 5th of May. So my lovely wife's like, we should take the kids out for an early Mexican cuisine dinner. It's like, this is like literally like the Valentine's Day of getting Mexican food. Why would we do this today? I'm not standing behind 200 groups of white people coming out to get fucking tacos to act like they give a shit about something they don't. They just want the tacos. They taste good. You know, that's what I can do it on. I can do it today. I can do it on the 6th. What is that? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, or siete. That's the best sounding number. Siete de Mayo. That's when I go out. I'm not going out Cinco de Mayo. But having said that, happy Cinco de Mayo to actual Mexican people. Happy Standing in Line Day for my people and all other groups of people. Anyway, here we are. Guess who feels like he doesn't have a fucking piano on his back anymore? This guy, Friday night, Tres de Mayo. I did, I actually went French there, Tres de Mayo. I went Tres. I can't speak any of them. I played the Hollywood Bowl, all right, with Nate Craig and Dean Del Rey, and then special guest was John Lovitz. He came out in the middle of my act and we shit on each other for about a minute. I pretended I was thirsty, and he just came walking out. Place went fucking crazy because he's John Lovitz. And then they also, the people that actually saw that podcast where we trashed each other, which I had no idea people were going to like it that much. It was one of the most popular podcasts I've ever done, us just trashing each other. But anyway, I'll take you through the day. So Friday comes along. And that was such a big gig for me that I was literally like paralyzed. Like I couldn't work out. I didn't go play drums. I couldn't go fart around the neighborhood. Nothing. I was just like laying in bed, looking at Nia going, like, I'm like, I know it's going to be good, but I just want to get over there and do this. And then I had, a zillion people on the guest list because I've lived out here for almost 20 years. I mean, it was like, I felt like I was getting married again. You know what I mean? When you're making out like the guest list and this person, they need to add one and this person can't make it. And who should sit with who? Where do we put this? People last second hit me up and just wanted to make sure that everybody got in, which happened thanks to Club Soda Kenny. And meanwhile, I rented a classic Cadillac to drive over there. I got a 1965 gold on gold Cadillac Coupe de Ville convertible. And when I first got behind the wheel of it, I was like, I don't know if I like this. It's a little weird, It's funny, those cars look huge, and then you get inside of them. They're nowhere near as big as the cars today. Like a fucking SUV. Everybody always taught, man, that car was like fucking 90 feet long and weighed a fucking ton. It's not like a 65 Cadillac Coupe de Ville two-door is a paperweight compared to something that a fucking soccer mom is driving down the street in. Like those Teslas weigh like fucking 10,000 pounds, not that much, but you know what I mean. So I drove it like half a block. I was like, I don't know if I like this. And half a block later, I was like, oh, I can get into this. And I had the armrest down, and I was leaning, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. And I don't know what it had. And I know it had a V8. But the ignition was right in the center of the dashboard. And you left it at 12 o'clock. If you went to the auxiliary, you could wear down the battery, which I did the night after the bowl, because I got out, it was dark out. I'm just used to turning it all the way to the left. And I came out the next day to take all the family out to breakfast. I had a dead battery, but I called AAA. We were fine. But anyway, so finally it's the moment of truth. I'm going over there. I get in the car to do sound check at like 4 PM, and then there's no point of me driving all the way fucking home. By the time I got home, fucking hour drive, I got to come right back. So I drive over there, and I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm also I just want to get on fucking stage, So I pull in. Of course, I go in the wrong way. Then I got to get out, and then I pull in. Everybody's loving the car. And I get out, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Fucking Hollywood Bowl. And I meet Club Soda Kenny there, everybody else, and literally just dropped my stuff and walked right out. I took video of it. I posted it on Instagram of just walking out and seeing the Hollywood Bowl empty from the stage. And just this, I don't know, I can't even explain it. It was just incredible, iconic, adrenaline rushing. And I knew in that moment, I'm like, I'm going to fucking murder tonight. I'm not going to have a good set. I'm going to fucking murder. I'd gone out to the Comedy Store Wednesday night and Thursday night. I did 2 sets a night, did different parts of my act. So everything was all, stretched, No tight hammies on any of the jokes. I knew what the fuck I was going to do for the most part. I had a new joke that I'd been opening with, and I was like, fuck this. I'm opening at the Bowl with it because then it'll just make me feel like I'm doing a spot. So we do sound check. They got a little coffee machine there. So I have what did I have? I had a latte, I think. And then Dean got some sort of green thing, that maca drink that had a espresso shot. I was like, I might get one of those later, right? So, everybody's coming in and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there. I got a ton of people in the green room. Some people like to be alone. I like to just have everybody in the green room talking, shooting the shit, busting balls. Lovett shows up, and all we do is just trash each other, having a great time. And, and then the friggin' show starts. Nate goes out to open, absolutely kills. He brings out Dean. Dean crushes. And then I go out there. Oh, I forgot to tell you, a long time ago, Richard Pryor played there on one of the first gay pride days. And he went out there and he opened his opening line was, I sucked a dick once. And the place went nuts. He was really talking about he got molested by this guy. But they didn't know that, right? So he does that bit. He immediately gets the gay crowd totally on his side. And he just was setting them up to basically say, why should I give a fuck about you guys? Where the hell were you when Watts was burning? When they were having all the riots after Martin Luther King was assassinated, civil rights, all of that type of stuff. Where the fuck were you guys? You guys were in West Hollywood not doing shit for me. Why the fuck should I give a fuck about you? 90% of them didn't get it, started booing him, and he didn't give a fuck. Told them all to go fuck themselves. And then he left. And then I was thinking, like, as much as he was Richard Pryor, there was still, that venue at that point was already 50 years old, and all these amazing people had played there, and he still had the balls to do that. So I was thinking, like, I can open with a new joke, right? So I went out there, and the energy was insane. And the feeling of being on that stage was just indescribable. It landed somewhere it was like a hybrid between doing Red Rocks and doing the Acropolis in Athens, where both are like sort of these amphitheater things. I mean, nothing was quite like the Acropolis. The Acropolis was like ridiculous. I felt like I went in a time machine back a couple thousand years with everybody dressed like it is now. I mean, that was something else. And then Red Rocks has like that psychedelic vibe to it. So this one had like golden age Hollywood, but also that outdoor thing, because there was a lot of like, you know, people not in show business that were in the crowd. So they were bringing that energy. And I did the opening joke. It's a pretty fucked up one. And it did well, but it definitely made people be like, hey, you know, well, what are we doing here? I felt, and I just laughed at the end of it, and I didn't give and I just freed me up. And yeah, I just caught a zone, and I just fucking, it just could not have gone any better. And then, you know, Lovitz the whole time he's backstage, he goes, so when are you going to bring me out? Like 20, 30? I was like, John, I don't know. Whenever it feels like the right time, I'll bring you out. And then I'm sitting there going in my head, but what if I'm killing so fucking hard? I don't want to bring him out and blah, blah. And then I was thinking like, no, this is like a cool, really cool thing that all old school entertainers used to do. And as I've been telling you guys, I watched that Steve Martin documentary, and he goes out with Martin Short, and they have such a good time together. And I recently did Dave Chappelle's comedy club, and we were on stage together after every one of my sets. So I was like, no, this is you kind of being like, you know, Billy the Loner, isolated Bill, hurt as a child Bill. Fuck this shit. Open yourself up. Bring this guy out. So I just felt, you know, like the moment was right about like 20 minutes in. And I was, you know, the bit was, you know, this is kind of room temperature. I'd love to have a cold water out here. I don't want to be a diva. And then all of a sudden he just comes walking out, and like people down front, because they didn't have a spotlight on him, could see him. And they started going nuts. Place went nuts. And, you know, we just trashed each other. And if you saw the podcast, he walked off stage as I was making fun of him. He was singing that song, Bill Burr Likes It in the Butt. You know what I love about that song? Is butt is way funnier than ass. Like ass, it kind of flows. It sounds like there's lube involved, but there's something about butt. It just seems like it's a lot more violating and way more insulting. So he was singing that song, which he used to sing to Bob Saget. I was giving John shit about that. I said, you just recycled all your Saget material. Now that he's dead, now you're going to fucking put it on me, you know? And then he's like, oh, I got some new ones. And then he did have some new ones. And he said I had a camel toe or something. And he was like, your turn, doing that stuff. And then he walked off, and it didn't disrupt the set at all. It was just sort of this fun little thing that, you know, was way out of character for me to do. You know, like I said, I grew up a fucking loner. You know, my family was sort of not the most social family. We lived on a busy street. Everyone around us was sort of older or younger. They didn't have kids, or they were like empty nesters. So there was really nobody to vibe with for a critical like 8 years of my life. So anyway, and then I just, you know, was doing the rest. Oh, I forgot to mention, Dean brought me one of those caffeine, the maca things with the green thing with the fucking espresso shot. I had already had a latte, and when I went out there for the first like 10 minutes, I was like lightheaded. And I'm like, what's going on? We're not at altitude. I'm not nervous. Am I fucking freaking out somewhere? And I just remembered a long time ago, I used to do the Aspen Comedy Festival, and that thing, you'd get out of breath. So I just started slowing down, taking bigger breaths, and it went away. And it wasn't until after my set, I was thinking like, you know, I hadn't drank coffee for like a week. And then I just had like 3 shots for whatever reason on kind of an empty stomach because I didn't feel like eating. And I just think it made my heart rate already go up. And then I was so fucking excited to be at the bowl that I was kind of like, had to pace myself. I was literally at one point going like, am I going to be the first fucking asshole to faint during his own set? But the lovely Nia was there, and she said you couldn't even notice. So I said, all right, good. I mean, I know it enough to just, just keep rolling with it. Nobody's noticing. Just calm down. So I breathed my way through that shit. And like I said, it just, I went over my time a little bit. I really didn't even want to leave. It was fucking incredible. And I want to thank every single person that came out that made that possible. Thank Netflix for, having the festival. And it was just fucking awesome. So then I get off stage, and everybody's all smiles, but they're always looking at the performer like, did you like it? Did you like it? Because so many times, a performer gets off stage, dude, that was great. And they're like, no, it wasn't. I missed a tag 8 minutes in. And like, I'm too old to do that shit. I mean, I didn't give a fuck that I was a little lightheaded when I went out there because I drank 3 shots of fucking espresso like an idiot. I didn't give a shit. I loved it. And I love that even that little lightheaded thing happened and I was able to get through it. I love that I brought, me and Lovitz did that and that worked. And I did every fucking thing that I wanted to do and did like an extra 10 minutes just to get as much out of it. Almost like I got a late checkout at a hotel, And I was just grinning ear to ear and everyone was telling me I did a great job. And then my wife comes in and I saw the look on her face and and when she told me I killed, that's the big one, because that's the thing. They don't, not too many people talk about that, but comedians' wives, like when they come in when your wife comes in, she's seen your act a bunch of fucking times. When she comes in with a big smile, it's like, all right, I know I got that one. And then, and then we just went over to the after party. It was just all my friends and family and all of that type of stuff. And we just hung out. And, it's funny. Somebody was saying, you've played all these places, what's next? Like, what is there left to do? Which I get why people say that. It's like, what's next? I'll tell you what's next. The next fucking killer chunk of material that makes me excited that I could do upstairs at the Belly Room in the Comedy Store, and I would still feel like I'm floating when I'm going home. Like whenever I start to feel a new chunk coming, I get like this high, and it's the exact same high I got the first time I ever did stand up when I didn't even do well. Supposed to do 5 minutes, I only did 3. I bailed. It was a competition. I didn't even come close to winning it, but it wasn't about that. It was about having the balls to go up there when they called your name. And I remember driving home in my '83 Ford Ranger, listening to Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart. And I was fucking singing the song and screaming, and I had the window out, the window down, and it was just fucking awesome. And it's just kind of been that, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been some rough ones, but like overall, that's kind of like what it's been. So, yeah, there you go, man. That's yeah. And everybody held this great. Like, is that gonna be your next special? I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be my next special. But I know better than to. I know what venues work for me. You know what I mean? I know Chris did his there, and I thought his was awesome when he did his live one there. But it's also like he did it. He just did one there. So I kind of feel like that's Chris's room a little bit, So I'm going to do my next one. I'm going to do it in Seattle, which I think is going to be a fun vibe because they're like... that's a fun city because you in the city they're super liberal, and then you get right outside it, and it becomes like red hats really quickly, which is what LA's like. It's like in here in like Hollywood, bunch of liberals. You go on the other side of the fucking hill, right through the valley, and you get out there, and then there's like gun stores and just regular shit like you see in most of the country. So that's like. The perfect crowd. I want liberals, conservatives, and a nice mix of people. Hopefully, then it just opens up. You can talk about anything. All right, so there we go. That's my Hollywood Bowl experience. Now, let's talk about my sports experience. Since I last talked to you, the Bruins lost Game 6 to Toronto and then had to go back home with the series tied up. Yet again, back-to-back years, being up 3-1. Are we going to blow it again? And came home say at the TD Bank North Garden and had to play a Game 7 against Toronto. And fucking 2 periods, just nobody's scoring. And I got to tell you something, man. Like those announcers were just blowing the fucking goalie for the Maple Leafs. They go like, well, you guys, when he makes a save like that, that gives a boost to this team that this guy is on. It's like we just shot it right into him. We kept shooting it right into his stomach. And they were acting like he was doing a full split, making a glove save. Anyway, they score finally with it felt like, 10, 12 minutes left in the game. And I was just going like, oh, man, we are just flat as fucking hell. We don't have any jump. They're shutting us down. And then I don't even know who the fuck it was. Someone who never scored. Was it Lindholm? I think it was Lindholm, who had like 3 goals the whole year. Gets the puck and just pauses, collects himself, didn't rush it, and just snipes one off the shoulder, off the pipe, the post, as they used to call it, into the net to tie it up right after they scored. We were like, holy shit. And I was just going like, oh my God, they're going to fucking blow this again. Toronto's going to fucking blow it again or break their hearts. They're not really blowing it. They're just breaking their hearts. They couldn't just fucking lose in 5 games, So, and then it goes into overtime, and it didn't last long. And Lindholm, like, that fucking pass, he wasn't throwing it to space. That was a fucking pass. He couldn't put it on Pasta's stick because there was a defenseman there. Threw it in front of him, came right off, ping-ponged off, right onto his fucking stick. And Pasta was like forehand, backhand, in the back of the neck. And just once again, I got to tell you, I don't know what to say to Leaf fans. And even that organization, they're sitting there trying to solve the problem. It's like they've done every fucking move you could make for as long as I can remember. Like, what do they do now? Like, they must be like nose blind. Ship everybody out. Bring a bunch of new people in. Did that. Fire a coach. Get a new one. They've done that. Get a new fucking GM. They've done that. What do you do? Break, the core 4. Is it time to break them up? I don't know what happens to them in the playoffs. I don't understand it, and I hate that it happens to them every year, even though they fucking hate the Bruins, and they're always fucking shitting on us like it's our fault that you guys lose. It isn't. We don't rub it in your face. We hate the Canadians. So my thing is, like, I hate that the Leafs keep losing because the Leafs losing is all Habs fans have now. So I want the Maple Leafs to win a cup more than anything. Bring a cup back to Canada and, and let the Canadians be sitting in a long drought, which they already are, 31 years. So, I don't know. This year didn't seem from the reactions that I saw from Maple Leaf fans. They're just like numb to it. They're just like, every fucking year, if you're a real Leaf fan, you knew they were going to figure out a way to not win that Game 7 and blah, 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 and all this shit. And the usual stuff that happens when you lose, then you start trashing all your stars and all of that. And I don't know. But I heard them on the broadcast was saying that the Leafs won a first round against Tampa a few years ago. But when I go on the internet, it says that they haven't won a playoff series since 2004. So I don't know what it is. So at the very least, they've only won 1 playoff series in the last 20 years. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not even gloating as a Bruins fan. I just sit there going like, I can't fucking believe we beat them again in a fucking Game 7. We beat them 3 Game 7s in the last, I don't even know how many, I think in 18, 19, and now? Is that what it is? Last year we lost to Florida. I don't know. I got kids now. I can't keep any of the years in. But Maple Leaf fans, just stop hating on the Bruins, all right? It's not, we don't hate you guys. We hate the Canadians, just like you. You know, we'd love to see, we want our team to win, but if we don't win, we'd love to see you win one. Okay? Just make sure your hatred is focused in the right direction, because I got like texts from 3 different Habs fans that were like, thank you so much for beating the Maple Leafs. I don't know, I guess it's English-speaking Canada versus phony French Canada. It's like, you're not French. You're Canadian. Nobody in France gives a fuck about you. They don't. They don't consider you. They think you... They probably hate your French more than mine. And I'm terrible at it. All right. And with that, we're on to the reads here for this week. Where am I going here? Oh, by the way, I got a great run of dates coming up. I got Columbus, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, who unfortunately got knocked out by the Vancouver Canucks, but I'm happy for the Canucks. You know, I'd love to see a Canadian team win it, you know? And they were like they won the President's Trophy, did they? They had a great year. I do know that. And then I'm working, I think, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. North Carolina is always a fucking fun state to drive through. There's always some cool restaurant here or there to check out, some mom and pop classic cars or whatever. It's great. So, anywho, so the day after I go to the bowl, you know, I kept that caddy for an extra day, and my wife had a shoot that she had to go do, so she wasn't around on Saturday, and I called up Dean Del Rey and Joe Bartnick, and we just took a nice fucking long ride with the top down, and it was fucking, I can't even tell you, man. Like those old Cadillacs with I've never been a convertible guy. Like I don't like a convertible on a small car is just, to me, it's just like a Hollywood starlet. It's like a chick car, right? But those big ones, I mean, you just start feeling like Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, you know, where all the windows should be down except for that one triangle window in the back. That sky blue Cadillac that he had. I'm a ragtop man. Hammond. Yeah, we cruised over to this great coffee spot over East LA. You know, we just had a fucking great time. And we were stuck in traffic, and we just didn't give a shit. We're just laughing, talking comedy and music and all of that shit, and just cruised around. It was really just a perfect. Like the next day, I will tell you this: like the day after, for all you younger comics out there, I don't know how it works for you, but for me, the day after a huge gig, is as fun as the huge gig is. You know, the rush of doing the huge gig. I feel like the next day when you just feel like that piano has been lifted off your chest, of like, you know, whatever you do, don't fuck this one up, you know? Just waking up the next day. I've had that feeling so many fucking times. I remember the morning after hosting SNL, and it went great. It couldn't have gone any better. I remember waking up the next day, and, you know, I hear sometimes performers have like hangovers, like, oh, you know, like, or like brides have that, you know? The focus is all on them, and then the next day they just wake up, their first day of being married, and their time as a princess is over, and they're like bummed out. Like I remember Nia was like bummed out, like, I don't know, there's like nothing to plan, there's no excitement or whatever. And I was like, what are you talking about? We got the rest of our lives, you know. You fucking gave her a little halftime speech, a little Lake Placid speech, you know. So I don't have that. Like the day after like a big gig, I feel like I'm on vacation. So, you know, you just get so hyper-focused on it. And then once it goes away, then it's like the whole universe just opens back up. Like, I think I'm going to ride around in an old Cadillac and go get a cup of coffee with some friends of mine. And not have to, I don't have a gig tonight. I don't have anything. So, anyway. And then today, I spent the whole day with my kids. just having like the best time. Oh my God, they're so funny. They're just so goddamn funny. And they're really starting to get older, so now they're like messing with each other. They're really passive aggressive towards each other, you know? Like, you know that guy in your hockey team whose job it is to get under the skin of the other team, just doing little ticky-tack shit when the ref's not looking? The ref's the parents, and this is what they do to each other. And then you turn around like, what is going on with you two? He pushed me. He's copying me. All of that stuff. It's hilarious. So anyway, let me do the reads here for this week. Couple of quick little reads, little advertisements here. What do I got? Oh, for God's sakes. You know, at some point, I'm really going to, I say this every week. At some point, no. I had it, and I just made the window go away. Is this it? If this is it, please let me know. No, these are all the reads. Oh, here we go. Here are the reads. Oh, look who it is, everybody. It's old Zip Recruiter. You know, when you want the best, you have to act quickly, or someone else will get it instead. That's a fun way to live your life, huh? It's like if you're hiring for your business. You want to find the most talented people for your open roles before the competition scoops them up. So what's the best way to do that with those ZipRecruiter? ZipRecruiter finds qualified candidates fast, and right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Burr, B-U-R-R. Got your eye on a rock star candidate? Invite to apply feature lets you cut the line. Once you review Zip list of the most qualified candidates for your job, you can easily invite your top choices to apply, to encourage them to apply sooner. Amp up your hiring performance with Zip and find the best fast. See why 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try to ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Burr. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Burr. ZipRecruiter.com/Burr. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, here we go. For you people who need glasses, or not glasses, if you want to put a picture in a frame, we have Aura frames. All right, you guys ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Huh? You want to move up in the rankings and become mom's favorite? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on your childhood memories and seeing what you're up to today. Now, here's the thing. If your mom is a sweetheart, load it up with pictures of her kids and her friends, all right? If she's a narcissist, just load it up with pictures of her. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com/Burr, B-U-R-R, to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's Aura, A-U-R-A, frames.com. Auraframes, plural.com/Burr. Use the code BURR at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. Oh, those goddamn terms and conditions. Terms of endearment. And the Oscar goes to, I don't think I ever saw that one. So anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so that's what people were asking me. They were asking me, now that you've played this place, you played that and all that stuff, what is there left to do? You know what there's left to do? For me to have a killer stand-up special. What's left for me to do is to go to Columbus, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and give those people their money's worth. That's what's left to do. I just keep doing that. What else am I going to do? Stop doing this? Sit on my back porch and stare out into the woods? I mean, I love doing that, but, you know, I also have gigs coming up, so I enjoy it. But if I had no gigs coming up, I would just stare out into the woods until I went fucking nuts. And I'm crazy enough. I need to have stuff to do. All right, so let's read your questions for the week. Comedy Store and Hollywood Bowl. Hey, Bill, I'm a big fan, and I'm out here in L.A. for a couple of months working from Australia, and was at the Comedy Store for your main room drop-in on Wednesday. Nightstand. Had tickets to the Hollywood Bowl. Just wanted to say thanks for a couple of unforgettable nights. It was so cool seeing how the jokes from the Comedy Store had developed and refined over those few short days and been woven into the longer format show. I had never been to the Hollywood Bowl before, despite having seen many live performances at almost every other venue over the years in this city, and I couldn't have asked for a better debut at the venue. Well, I mean, that must be extra sick. I mean, if you're in Australia, you know, you going to see a show at the Hollywood Bowl would be like me going to like Royal Albert Hall or what's you know what? What's that one in Sydney? Sydney, was it not the Opera House? The Sydney, the fuck? I did a gig there. The one that's like all the shells coming up. God damn it. My fucking memory is just going. That was a huge deal for me. Performing at that one, because that's also the one where Frank Sinatra went on, and he called that critic a $2 whore. You ever read that story? $3 whore or something? And there was all these feminists in the crowd, and they didn't like it. I mean, it didn't get the biggest laugh. There's actually audio of it, and they made such a stink about it that they said they weren't going to let him leave the country. The prime minister wasn't going to let him leave the country unless he issued a formal apology to the reporter. So Frank gets word of that, and he pours himself a drink. He's up in this penthouse suite in Sydney, Australia. And he says to his lawyer as he pours a drink, he goes, well, I'm not apologizing, so now what? And there was this giant fucking standoff. I can't believe they haven't made a movie about that or fucking done some animated short. You know, remember those Mike Judge things, the Tales from the Road, all the musicians? That would have been a great one. That would have been a great one. I didn't see every episode of that. They might have done that one. So anyway, that's so cool that you came here to America and you got to see a show at the Hollywood Bowl. I'm humbled that it was me. I mean, fucking Jim Morrison, one of the great concert films of all time with the Doors has been on that stage. Frank Sinatra. When you go back there and you see pictures of Jimi Hendrix on the stage and everything, maybe that'd be another reason why I felt a little lightheaded when I went out there. That was a lot. This guy says, thank you very much for a magical night last night. Again, you fucking killed it, man. Thank you. And you know what? I did kill it. And I accept that fucking compliment. This is the new me. I'm not going to be, oh, you know, the lighting and the sound or whatever. Yeah, that was all great, and so was I. All right? I'm a good person. All right. No cash bail. Bill, you mentioned no cash bail in New York. Literally no one I know is for this. Yeah, I don't understand how that came about. Everybody says the liberals did that. Was that in the reaction to those RICO laws or whatever? Where they put those fucking girlfriends of drug dealers because they had nobody to flip on and they went to jail for the rest of their life, so they overcorrect the other way and they let psychos go out and kill cops and all that horrible shit that's been happening? Does it feel like anybody's holding the steering wheel of the country right now? That's why I can't talk about this fucking election. It's just like 2 elections in a row, 3 elections in a row has been our fucking idiot is better than your fucking idiot. You know? Like John McCain versus Barack Obama. That was like 2 competent fucking individuals. I will say Bush and Gore was a bad one. Clinton versus Bob Dole was a good one. Clinton versus George Herbert Walker was a good one. George against Mike Dukakis before he stuck his head out the tank. That was a good one. Like there's been like Walter Mondale against Reagan. They've always been like good matchups, you know. Reagan Carter was a good one. I mean, I don't know if anybody knew that Reagan was going to just let corporations run wild. That was kind of his fucking, you know, bad, I guess, that he listened to them. But he also fucking outspent the Russians and helped end the Cold War. So you got to give him the thumbs up on that. You know, deregulating all of these fucking corporations so they can now do whatever the fuck they want. And I just love how they're fucking this whole country up. And like there's this giant segment of the white population that is still blaming minorities. Literally minorities. They're minorities. How are they running shit? They're not making any policy. They didn't poison our food supply. They didn't poison the water supply. They don't make decisions to get us involved in wars. I mean, I don't understand that. Oh, you know what's ruining this country? Fucking illegal immigration. Is that why? Is that what's ruining it? That's what's ruining it. I literally saw this fucking video of this guy. He bought like this classic Porsche Spider from the 1950s, and he had rented a crane to have it brought in to just sit in the living room of his penthouse apartment. And you know he's going to be in one of these big stupid magazines talking about how the car's a work of art. I can just look at it and enjoy it. And that's one of those people that they get their bonuses by laying off people and putting people out in the streets. And then people drive down the street and they see people living under bridges, and who do they blame? They blame whoever the standing president is. And it's like, that's not what it is. For one person to be taking that much meat off the bone, somebody's not going to be able to eat. Next thing you know, you're going to be outside. And these fucking people cash those bonus checks and sleep like fucking babies next to a Porsche that they have sitting in their fucking bedroom. Anyway, I'm off my fucking... That's just my version of it. So... Anyway, I don't understand. No bail is just fucking Wild West. I don't know why they're doing that. Anyways, the Attorney General can't even justify it. Even my psycho left family thinks it's insane. Yep, so once again, we've politicized it. It's like, who wants criminals running the streets? They don't. And you're acting like all liberals were like, yes, this is what we should do, rather than one idiot. It's like when I look at Trump, I don't look at him like he represents the Republican Party. You know, Republican Party, you know, has plenty of fucking level-headed conservative people. I don't know why they keep choosing that guy any more than I understand why blue ties keep choosing a guy that clearly has cognitive fucking issues. Anyway, literally no one I know, blah, blah, blah. The attorney, psycho left... even my psycho left family thinks it's insane, and they're the type of people who have absolutely bullshit beliefs, like if the government wanted 75% of our paychecks, it's for a good reason. Yeah, the reason is we regular people would be paying the tab that the fucking super rich chewed and screwed on. The ones that got us into this 20-year fucking war, and they lined their pockets with it and bankrupted this fucking country. And what do? We blame people who just came across the border. Yeah, that's why we're fucking bankrupt. All right. Fucking Uncle Terry, when is he gonna learn? Yeah, you know what it is? That they're like, people who think that way and just stick to party lines like that, they're like those diehard like fans of a band, and a band's 40 years into their career and they put out a garbage album. I'm not saying you can't put out a killer album, you know, but like if you know, and they just, no matter what the album is, I like it. There's a lot of good tracks on that. It's like, dude, come on. What are they doing? The guy can't sing anymore. What the fuck's going on? And they just can't see it. People get that way with political parties, which I don't understand. It doesn't help anybody. Anyway, you wouldn't pass a law like this unless you were trying to keep dangerous people on the street to cause turmoil and chaos, probably in order to roll out crazy laws. Yeah, you know, I would love to argue against that, but who in their right fucking mind would have a no bail system? The term is controlled demolition of society. Think about, I don't understand. Why do these people want to ruin this country? It's such a great country. And you can be a complete nobody and you can make it in this country. Why Do a select group of a few people want to end this for everybody? It's just fucking greed. You know, and God knows CNN and Fox News are not going to call out these corporations because they get paid by them. So it's up to you as an individual to stop blaming political parties and individuals and races of people, you know, who get fucking intimidated. They can't even fucking vote. They're not swinging elections. You got to fucking look at the handful of people that are doing this. Then I don't know what to do after that once you identify them. Like the second person from Boeing, that whistleblower from Boeing magically died, and it's barely even a fucking story. But I can tell you this, if somebody retaliated, all right, if a worker from Boeing retaliated, okay, and anonymously killed someone on the higher up board of Boeing, the people that made these decisions to cut costs, allegedly, and all of that, that would be a fucking story on Fox News and on CNN. And it would be called an act of terrorism. We have to find this guy, and they would find him. That's where I am. That's how jaded I am. Anyway, think about it. Controlled demolition of society. Think about it. I've never heard anyone talk about civil war in this country, and now the news just keeps putting that in people's heads. It's the "you are what you eat" of news propaganda. Here's an example of what's happening. New York City judge retires to Florida just days after freeing a man who sucker punched a 57-year-old woman in the jaw. Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice Matthew I can't even say that name. Sciarrino, Sciarrino, retired and is moving to Florida after a bizarre ruling. Franz Judy was freed by Sciarrino last week, even after prosecutors upgraded the assault charge to a felony. The Brooklyn DA's offer requested $25,000 cash bail or $50,000 bond, but Sciarrino turned down the request. Victim Dulce Pichardo's jaw was completely shattered from the attack back in March. Her jaw was wired shut, and she lost some of her teeth. Thanks and love to the family. All right. Okay, just so everybody doesn't fucking put their head between their fucking knees here. There's a lot of great stuff happening in this country, and there's a lot of great people, okay? And we got to stop doing this Hatfield McCoy's thing, all right? We need to help each other out. You know, if you see a homeless person and they don't look like they're using, help them out, get them a cup of coffee. It's going to be on us because these people at the top are not human beings. They're fucking sociopaths. And I don't know. I don't know how you combat the fucking propaganda of CNN and Fox News. It's fucking insane. I mean, those are literally like almost like they should be on like the 700 Club network. They're like religions for some people. Incel woman. Incel woman, all right. Okay, here's a new one. I thought all incels were just guys. I had no idea. All right, let's see here. Where the hell did it go? Okay. Dear Billy, misunderstood balls. What's the term for a woman who hates men because they can't get one or always picks the wrong ones, so they think we're all losers and assholes? Oh, I forget. Well, if you're a guy and you do that, you're a misogynist, misanthropist or something. I think that's hatred of humanity. There is a name. If there's a name for a slob of a man who doesn't take care of himself and hates women, then what is the name for a woman's version? There is a name for it, and I always have to look it up because they never say it. Just wondering, but it seems like no one is addressing women who bring nothing to the table and expect a man to be everything they wanted. Tall, dark, handsome, and rich. I'm 5'7", good shape, and a slightly less striking-looking version of John Stamos. Well, you should be fucking crushing it. Even the runoff from John Stamos's life should be enough to get you in the Hall of Fame. I've had girls ogle at me on dating apps, and then when we see eye to eye, literally speaking, they seem put off. Also, I make good money, but only live in a 1-bedroom apartment. That's good, man. Don't fucking blow all your cash. I dated a girl who was basically interviewing me for a few weeks while we hung out. Every question was loaded. And even though she seemed to like me, she had this devil on her shoulder telling her she could do better. Well, listen, buddy, you dodged a fucking bullet. It's been 4 years and she's still single and continuing to interview every guy in the city with no luck. Her superficial ways have left her posting on Instagram stories that every guy is a fuckboy and there are no good men out there. All right, well, why are you taking on whatever the fuck she's carrying? I used to trash women all the time. I used to, and I still do too. Mitch Hedberg. No, I don't. I've really gotten away from that. And my shit was I couldn't figure out how to make a relationship work. So I did all of this shit, trash and marriage, and why the fuck would you ever do that? And the reality is I wanted to be married. I wanted to be married and have a big family is what I really wanted. I just didn't know how to do it, and I was frustrated, and I didn't realize that I was the problem. So what did I do? I blamed innocent people. You know, sound familiar? Happens all the fucking time. So that's what she's doing. So I wouldn't take anything, anything that she's doing personally. I'll tell you what's great for your psyche is to have empathy for her and hope or pray that she comes out of this so she can find the person she's supposed to be with. But other than that, if there's some woman walking around saying all guys are fucking assholes and blah, 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 you just, all right, I mean, that's what you think, okay. So the person says, "Can't wait to see you perform live again." All right, you know what? I'm gonna find the word right now. I gotta turn this thing off of airplane mode. At the risk of somebody calling me, then I gotta fucking edit this thing. Let's see here. What is the name for a woman? I've looked this up a bunch of times in the podcast. That hates men. It is, a misandrist. MISANDRIST. So misogynist is a guy that hates women. A misandrist is a woman that hates men. And then if you're a misanthrope, I think is what it's called, you just hate all of humanity. And I don't know what. The gay community has to fucking weigh in to let me know if you're a lesbian and you hate other lesbians. Then you're just probably some sort of self-hating gay person or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't take any of that shit on. Something probably happened to her when she was younger, and she's probably afraid to get into a relationship, which is why she just kept interviewing you. Every question was loaded, and she wanted you to trip up so she could, there's the reason, there it is, and she could get out of it. Or she used to love men, and then she just dated such a fucking asshole, she's afraid to get into something else. But guess what? You can guess all day. Until she says what it really is, you're never going to know. And until then, she's going to be on Instagram blaming all men, which is a bad place to be, and I was there at one point in my life on the other side of the table. So I hope she comes out of it, and I hope you go find somebody that loves you. All right, stupid new phrases. Bill, I'll get right to it. I'm 38 years old, and I hate everything about pop culture. Oh, wait, let me put this fucking thing back into airplane mode so I don't have to edit this thing together. All right, I'll get right to it. I'm 38 years old. And I hate everything about pop culture, social media, etc. It started with the when you jokes, like when your Uber driver smells, then insert dumb picture. Oh, yeah, that's sort of like the Mad Libs. They used to have not really, they're more like hacky stand-up jokes. Like people start speaking in social media speak. Tell me you're a garbage collector without telling me you're a garbage collector. You can just insert any fucking job. Tell me you still live in home without telling me. And it just becomes like this, like a Mad Lib. Like the joke's already written. You just got to put the subject in there. And then all of a sudden you're funny. So he says, the new ones I hate the most is he understood the assignment. Yep. He stood on business. There's a million of those fucking things. He wanted that smoke. But there are some fucking great ones, though. People are fucking, like, I get blown away by some of the jokes people write. There was a band one time, they were all obese, and, they were an unknown band, and in the comment section, people were fucking coming up with names for the band. And the only one I can remember, they were all fucking hilarious. The one that I really remembered was one of them called Jimmy 8 World. I was just like, oh my God. Judas Feast. They were just fucking hilarious. They were literally like, these people could write for a late night monologue. Fucking killer jokes. So my hat's off to there's a lot of regular people out there that have come up with some fucking incredible jokes. I mean, there was recently I saw when this guy had this giant head, and somebody wrote, this guy dreams in IMAX. All right. Stupid new phrases. Bill, I'll get right to it. I already said, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the new ones I hate. He understood the assignment. It's worse when they don't even do it right. A girl I know posted this while holding a bottle of rosé with no contest. The assignment was to buy a bottle of wine. What are you even saying, sweetheart? You just want to join in and you don't know how. Yeah, they want to be the person that says, that was like back, what is my life even right now? That was one for a while. Or you'd go this and have like the fucking emoji pointing to something above it. It's just, I don't know. It's what people do when they're in between being young adults and curmudgeonly old people, that then you go the other way and you're like, hey, I hate everything that people like. Also, he says, using the first few notes to that Sade song, Smooth Operator. I got into an argument with the girl I was dating because of it. I asked her, don't you think it's a bit unoriginal? She looked at me like I had 10 heads with dicks sticking out of them. The least she could have done to prove she wasn't a drone would be to say, yeah, but I think it's funny, or even defend it a little. Instead, she looked at me like I was from a different society with different values. Ha ha ha, fucking hate so much, Bill. Thanks for all the laughs. Yeah, you're in a lonely place, sir. You're in a lonely place. You're basically, you're thinking for yourself, and you're noticing patterns, and you're like, well, how many times, like Colin Quinn used to do these jokes about those office jokes that people would say, not only everywhere, but the same person would say it all the time. And people would still laugh, like, hey, I'd complain, but who would listen? And people would just laugh. Another dollar, another day. Same shit, different day. All of that stuff. Those stock jokes. Well, those things in stand-up are a stock line. The one that I heard for years, and I finally thought about it, doesn't even make sense. They're like, where'd you learn how to whisper? In a helicopter factory? And the idea was that there would be a bunch of helicopters, and they're all on. It's like they're building them. And why would building a helicopter be any louder than putting a truck together or a car? It's still the same thing. You're just assembling it, right? It doesn't even make sense, but just the idea of, like, I guess you'd say at a helicopter expo, but even then they're not turned on. You would never have a helicopter on inside of a factory with the fucking blades spinning around. I don't think OSHA would have been up on that. So, you're actually a thinking person. So, you know what you have to do when you're around people like that? Because she's probably the kind of person that grew up and got hugged and was loved and everything. And, they're like the kind of people that when, Halloween's coming up and everything becomes pumpkin spice, they love it. And they want to put on a turtleneck sweater, drink pumpkin spice, and go apple picking. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So, and every once in a while, especially if you are like a curmudgeon or like a, what do they call you when you always have the opposite point of view? a contrarian. A contrarian also sometimes can be there's a lot of narcissists in contrarian clothing because it's just a way of arguing the other side so you keep the attention on you. And then other people just are contrarians because they're miserable fucks and they just want to push everything away because that's what their parents did to them. It all comes back to being a kid, I think. And I have no medical background whatsoever, so take all of this shit with a grain of salt. So just have more of a sense of humor about it. Instead of saying, don't you think it's a little unoriginal? Just get really excited when you hear it. And just be, oh my God, is that a new song? Did that just come out? Or just be an idiot about it. Yeah, for a while, everything was let the bodies hit the floor. And then people just shit on it enough. Let the finger hit the mute or something like that. Enough of those jokes, people stop using it. But I don't know. I would say like the last two, okay? Being a man or a woman and thinking that there's no good man or woman out there, and also being somebody that notices, why would you do the exact same joke as someone else? How many fucking times can you hear the exact same joke and not notice that you've heard this 13,000 fucking times before? Those are two lonely places to be in. But I've been in both places, and my life I landed on my feet somehow. So anyway, with that, that's the end of the podcast. Condolences to the Toronto Maple Leafs. As a Bruins fan, my heart goes out to you legitimately, and I'm rooting for you guys, all right? So don't be a bunch of fucking cunts when I go up there, all right? It's not our fault. You know, you guys can't seem to get it together. So I have no idea. But I would love nothing better than an original six team that isn't a fucking Canadiens team, Montreal Canadiens, to win the cup. Also, the Bruins now move on to the Florida Panthers, and we get a chance to avenge the 3 games in a row that they beat us last year. 3 games to 1 to lose in 7. I mean, it made it easier that they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final, you know, and almost won the damn thing. Well, actually, it didn't. Fucking the Vegas Knights pretty much handled them. But that's because Tkachuk had a busted sternum at that point. I think that guy was so good, I think that he could have pushed it to 7 games. I still think Vegas wins it. But he was just like, I don't think I've been a while since I've seen somebody just willing their team to victory the way that guy did. That guy was everything you want in a player. So I'm looking forward to watching him play again. I am not looking forward to what he does against my team, but I will be there. All right, that's it. Go fuck yourselves. Thank you to everybody who came out to the Hollywood Bowl. And that's it. I will check in on you on Thursday.